Hey everybody, I'm Miss La-Di-Da, and thank you for tuning into my channel today. I really appreciate it. So, as you can tell from the title of this video, it is called There's Asbestos in My Eyeshadow? Yes, there is. Let's dive into this. If you watched my previous video last week on macro, then you know that there is new laws and legislature taking place in the beauty and cosmetics industry that is allowing the FDA to approve or disapprove or recall, in some instances, cosmetics that have talc and asbestos in it, because where you have talc, you have asbestos. When you grade talc down, there's always a small amount of asbestos in it, which means that for the beauty cosmetics companies that are still using talc in their products, there is asbestos in it. But now the FDA can regulate that, and hopefully we can get all of that eliminated out of our beauty products. So let's talk about this. Because talc and asbestos are minerals found close together, when talc is mined, it may contain traces of asbestos. Talcum powder is still an ingredient in a number of cosmetics brands. As recently as November 2020, a study found that 14% of talc-containing makeup tested also contained asbestos. Talc is a popular ingredient in makeup, but it has a long documented history of asbestos contamination. Talc in makeup may cause cancer as a result of the asbestos exposure. And I'm sure you've seen the commercials. They're all over TV about Johnson & Johnson's famous litigation that they're under about it causing ovarian cancer. Well, here you go. It's in our products, our makeup products as well. Cosmetic products and brands that tested positive for asbestos include Johnson's Baby Powder, JMK COZ 120 Colors Eyeshadow Palette, Beauty Glazed Gorgeous Me Eyeshadow Tray Palette, Beauty Plus Global City Color, children's makeup sold by Claire's, the Just Shine Shimmer Powder sold by Justice. Now, I'm not sure about all of the other ones I listed because I don't know anything about them, but I do know that Claire's and Justice, those products were recalled. Talc is added to makeup because it creates a soft, silky texture, and it dilutes pigmented products and acts as a filler. It is a common ingredient in powder compacts, finishing powders, eyeshadows, blushes, foundations, and creams. And it's also been used for centuries, I'm sure. I know back in the day of Elizabeth Arden, I know they had that stuff in there, and probably way more than what we have today. It is the softest mineral on Earth, and it is known for its ability to absorb moisture and reduce the appearance of oily skin. For example, talc-based face powders are commonly used on top of cream foundations to set the foundation so that it stays in place and looks naturally dry instead of oil and shiny. Chanel, Revlon, and L'Oreal have chosen to remove talc from some, but not all, of their products. No other makeup brands have announced plans to remove it from their cosmetics. I will repeat, Chanel, Revlon, and L'Oreal. Those are the only three companies that have said, hey, we're going to remove from some products, but not all. And what exactly those products are has not been determined yet, at least to my knowledge. So I don't know. I can't tell you. In 2019, retailers Justice and Claire's recalled their children's makeup products that tested positive for asbestos. Beauty Plus Global recalled its City Color products that tested positive. None of these entities have announced plans to stop using talc or selling talc-based cosmetics. They said, hey, okay, we'll pull these, but we're still going to continue to sell our products. Now, why Did they recall those? I do not know. That's a question mark for me. Talc is added to many consumer products in addition to cosmetics, including deodorants, powders, soap, feminine hygiene products, contraception devices, pills, textiles, chalk, children's balloons, clay, and crayons. Asbestos ends up in makeup because of poor regulations involving cosmetic grade talc, which is also known as talcum powder. Talc and asbestos are minerals that form together. That means, like I said before, that talc mined for commercial uses can be contaminated with asbestos, a known cause of lung cancer and mesothelioma. There is a long history of asbestos remaining in talc that is certified asbestos-free. Manufacturers don't purposely add asbestos to cosmetics, but there is a lack of regulation around cosmetic-grade talc, which I foresee is going to change in the very near future. Because of that relaxed oversight, no one is checking for the presence of asbestos. That means companies can get away with not testing their talc for asbestos before putting it into their products, possibly harming us. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration does not regulate cosmetic-grade talc yet. The Food, Drug, and Cosmetics Act of 1938 does not require the FDA to review cosmetics products and their ingredients with the exception of color additives. Guess what? Not anymore! As of December, that's no longer the plan. That's no longer the law. In 1976, the Cosmetic, Toiletry, and Fragrance Association, now known as the Personal Care Products Council, that sounds a lot better, asked its members to use asbestos-free talc in their products. While the FDA says that it considers it unacceptable for cosmetics talc to be contaminated with asbestos, there are no U.S. laws or regulations that strictly prohibit it to be used in consumer products as of right now. Claire's and Justice recalled their products, but the retailers have not announced plans to discontinue sales of all talc-based products. Why is asbestos in cosmetics dangerous? Long-term exposure to asbestos through talcum powder is known to cause mesothelioma and ovarian cancer. While asbestos-contaminated makeup hasn't yet been associated with the development of diseases, the risk remains as long as talc goes unregulated in the U.S. The greatest risk comes from loose powder products such as baby powder, finishing powder, and compact foundation. When these products are contaminated with asbestos, they pose an inhalation risk that could lead to lung cancer or mesothelioma. Asbestos in makeup does not cause any immediate side effects because the health consequences of asbestos exposure takes decades to develop. The latency period associated with mesothelioma is between 20 and 60 years after a person is first exposed to asbestos. Tips for avoiding asbestos in cosmetics. Be aware of and avoid brands that test positive. Duh. Buy talc-free brands. Duh. Don't assume brands that claim to be asbestos-free, organic, or natural are totally free of asbestos. Now that one is not a duh. That one is a, oh wow, I need to read the ingredients deck on this. Simply looking for all natural or organic cosmetics isn't enough to avoid the asbestos. Like I said, you need to read the ingredients deck. That is something that us as consumers really need to start doing. We're doing it with our food, right? Well, maybe some of us. I know I do. I have huge health concerns. So yeah, I look on the ingredients deck to see what is in my food for what is going to be going into my body. Therefore, I need to start reading the label to see what I'm putting on my body as well. Because ultimately, my body, my skin, is going to absorb it. And it's going to go into my body anyway. What does asbestos-free actually mean? The U.S. government decided that products may contain up to 1% of asbestos and be labeled asbestos-free. Yeah. It can have 1%, but they can still label it as asbestos free. Asbestos in makeup falls in a gray area of the law, at least it used to. Now that MACRA has come into play, it no longer is a gray issue. How do you know if your makeup has asbestos? The only way to know if the makeup or cosmetics you own contain asbestos is to have each product tested. If you already own talc-based makeup and you're concerned that it could be contaminated, it's cheaper to replace it with a talc-free brand. The following cosmetic brands are made free of talc: Pacifica, Shea Moisturizer, Smashbox, Honest Beauty, Affordable Mineral Makeup, Everyday Minerals, Ecobella, and Juice Beauty. Now, some of these I've never heard of in my life, but majority of them I have heard of. So look out for those brands. I will list them here as well, and I will list them down in the description box so you can, look it up. Also Google it, and you'll find it. How do experts test for asbestos in makeup? So Fitzgerald of the Scientific Analytical Institute stresses the importance of using the most advanced testing available to find asbestos in makeup. He uses a transmission electron microscope, or a TEM, to detect the asbestos. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency recommends the use of TEM to test for asbestos because it exceedingly is better than other methods, such as an X-ray or polarized light. When other laboratories tested, perhaps they're using light microscopy or XRD, which is not sense enough, said Fitzgerald. If I only use PLM or XRD on my samples, more likely than not, only a couple of them would have been positive, if any. Are asbestos or talcum powder regulated? Asbestos is regulated at federal, state, and local levels. Talc is not. Federal agencies that defined the laws and regulations pertaining to asbestos are the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, Consumer Product and Safety Commission, the CPSC, and the Mine Safety and Health Administration, MSHA. The FDA's review tested 43 cosmetic samples in 2019 and found that 9 of them contained asbestos. It notified the public of the results and announced it would test 50 more by 2020. The FDA expected to release the results in early 2021, but has not announced any new updates. So, only in a few cases have mesothelioma lawyers won compensation for patients who claimed they developed mesothelioma as a result of asbestos-contaminated talc. These lawsuits were based on individual products no longer on the market. The FDA didn't have to take any action because the scientific data was based on products that aren't even available today, including Cashmere Bouquet talcum powder and products made from talc supplied by Whitaker, Clark, and Daniels, companies I have never heard of in my life. Legislation to further regulate asbestos was presented in 2019. In March 2019, U.S. Representative Debbie Dingell presented a bill known as the Children's Product Warning Label Act that would require warning labels on children's cosmetics that could contain asbestos. The legislation stalled after review in the Subcommittee on Health. In November of 2019, the Alan Reinstein Bar Asbestos Now Act of 2019, presented by Representative Frank Pallone, passed in committee but stalled thereafter. So there are several instances where companies individual agencies are trying to get laws passed, labels put out there, warning people about this, but once it hits the court system, it stalls, it flatlines. It's sad. It is so sad. And I don't know why. I don't know why it keeps stalling like that. But now that the FDA has a say in what is happening in the cosmetics industry, hopefully that is no longer the case. And hopefully we can create healthier products that we're putting on our skin and getting rid of all of these harmful minerals that are being used and that we are inhaling. I personally, like I said in my last video, I no longer use aerosol products because of what I'm afraid is in there. And I'm not one of these paranoid people that, you know, is like one of these big conspiracy theory type of people, or a germaphobe or anything like that, like, you know, doing weird kind of stuff. I just don't want to inhale it. Like, the older I get, the more aware of my body I get, and the more aware of what I'm putting into and onto my body I am. And I want only the best stuff for my body. I deserve the best for my body, and so do you. And that is why these laws and legislations are so important to the consumer. It is very important. If we can eliminate the risk for cancer, even at the tiniest bit, by doing something like this, we can eliminate mesothelioma or lung cancer. Let's do it. Why not? And that is going to end my video for today. I hope that you learned something from this. I know I have. In doing all of the research I have done, this is so important. And I cannot stress it enough how important that the FDA is to the beauty and cosmetics industry. All right, that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. My name is Miss Lottie Daw, and thank you so much for tuning into my channel. Stay tuned for the next video, and take care of yourself and each other.